What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube?
Sixers are in trouble. I need a top five.
Man, let's get into best of the week, man. What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube? Back for another episode of Charge It to the Game Sports Podcast. And as you can see, we're joined by the Seahawks legend, Lofa Tatupu. He's coming on. He's going to chat with us. He's going to talk with everything Seahawks, all things under the sun Seahawks. Give us a little bit of a synopsis of his life, man. What's he doing now? His NFL career, his NFL journey. As you can see, Big Z's in the house. He's joining me. But before we get started, everybody, if you're on the YouTube page, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Leave some comments for Lofa, man. Let him feel it, man. So, Seahawks fans, you got your wish, man. I know you guys were pumped in some of the chats I was in earlier, man. So he's here. He's going to chat with us. And obviously, if you're on any of the other podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, things of that nature, make sure you subscribe, leave some reviews. But Lofa, man, how you doing, man? What's going on, brother? Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, fellas, thanks for having me.
Welcome.
You're welcome, man. So Lofa, man, like I said, thanks for coming on, man. I know, like I said, you took time out of your busy schedule, man, to join us. Let's start things off, man. So tell us a little bit about your early childhood, growing up. What was that like? I know that for a lot of people that don't know, your father actually played in the NFL. He's a former NFL player. Did you want to grow up and be a professional player, or?
That is all I wanted to be. No, I mean, I feel like it's a lot of kids' dreams, but when your dad is a 14-year NFL veteran, I mean, it paints the picture for you, So yeah. In my mind, there was nothing else I was going to do with my life. Everything was focused on making it to the NFL, and I took the path less traveled, as I wasn't very good when I was younger.
Really? You? Stop lying, man. You being modest.
Man, when I tell you it. So I grew up playing football, baseball, basketball.
Okay.
Baseball was by far my best sport. I mean, easy. Walk out there, pitch a no-hitter, hit a couple home runs. But I was so bored out there that I was like, I can't do
this. Hey, I like that. Hey, I don't know if you listen to the show. We talk basketball, football. We talk sports betting. All our guys. Why in the hell did you talk baseball? Lofa told you why. It's boring as hell. But continue, Lofa. I'm just letting everybody know it's boring as hell. Go ahead.
I mean, and that's really, if you're not pitching or you're catching, I mean, you could even play shortstop and maybe see one ball all game. So it's like, for me, it was painstakingly, boring. And so I had no interest in it. And when I broke my wrist in was a freshman or 8th grade, I snapped my wrist going down a slide rollerblading,
Oh my God. Damn.
Snapped this shit in half. And it was right in the middle of baseball season. So I was like, you know what? And I stuck it out. I'm a team player. So I went to all the games, showed the support, right? But that was the end of my baseball career. I was like, you know what? I ended up doing track or something in the spring because you had to do something every
season, yeah.
Every season of the year, you had to do something, just stay busy, stay active. So I filled that up with track. But then I would say the sport, it was tough between football and basketball. I really loved basketball. I was not great at it, but I was still better than I was at football.
Right.
So I was a big kid when I was young. Being Samoan, you're a little heavier than most of your friends.
Why is that though?
I mean, just my shoulders were this big when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, your shoulders in the house for sure, man. I don't. You never skip shoulder day, man.
Oh man, it's just the genetics, right? So
yeah,
I was always playing with the kids. At the time, it didn't occur to me, but I was playing with all of my friends' older brothers that were. When I was a freshman in high school, they were juniors, seniors, and some kids were already in college.
Right.
And so those are the kids I grew up playing with. And so, while I didn't stand out or I didn't really make my name known because, I was like, oh man, I'm trash. I got to get better. Like I'm barely getting burned out here, and what's going on? And I was one of the bigger kids too, but
right.
But you're not caught up, maturity wise. That's a big gap, even 2 years when you talk about kids in their thought process and how quickly they can dissect the game from a mental standpoint. So it didn't dawn on me, but then I got to like high school, and I didn't have to keep watching what I eat. I could eat whatever I want because there was weight limits back then.
Yeah.
And so that's why my weight limit pushed me up to play with the kids 3 and 4 years older. But now I guess, if you're 10, you play with all the other 10-year-olds. It doesn't matter if you're 40 pounds heavier. Yeah. So, but back then it was by weight classification. So, but I think that's what ultimately made me better, because when I got to high school, and I didn't have to worry about what I ate. I could eat whatever I want. I didn't have to lose weight to play with the kids that were, 2 years older than me.
Right.
I kept growing, and a lot of them didn't. They stopped. So I ended up, and the crazy part was when I got to high school, I had to play quarterback. Our quarterback, he had quit. One of my best friends, he had quit to go play basketball full time. He was on a bunch of AAU teams.
Okay.
He was really good, but so then they just put the next most athletic at quarterback. They threw me in there, and I was like, all right, well, whatever, I'll do this. So I played quarterback and middle linebacker in high school.
That's a heck of a combination.
We're pretty decorated at quarterback, 10 touchdowns. I mean, what was that like? And then also playing for your father as your coach. What was that?
Yeah, like? That was a challenge in and of itself. Think about it. So, your dad's always going to be hardest on you.
Yeah.
But then you go there, and he's not dad, he's coach, right?
Yeah.
And then take the expectations of a 14-year NFL veteran and pile that on top. So it was like I just couldn't do anything right. And looking back, I miss those days, even though we were at each other's throats. It was just I learned so much about the game, and then I just cherished all that time that I had with him as my coach. Man, it was hilarious.
That's cool, man. That is what's up, man. So tell us a little bit about your your high school. So senior year comes. So how did you get to USC? Like, were you heavily recruited? Like, did you get any stars? Like, what happened?
Man, no star. No, I didn't show up on any recruiting, scouting report or anything. It was
really?
I had a bunch of Division I AA schools looking at me, and there was maybe 3 or 4 Division I schools, and I think UConn, Rutgers, and Temple were the only Division I schools, and they came to see me because one of my linemen had sent them, film of our high school games, and so they came to visit him, and then they pulled me out of class. And so I was like, oh, what's going on? Because I hadn't sent them a tape, and I didn't know what I was doing down there talking to them. And then they're like, so what do you know? They're talking to me about offense. And I'm just like, what the hell? What am I?
Right.
And he's like, and I was like, wait, you guys want me to play quarterback? And,
yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we didn't know you played anything else. And I was like,
oh.
I was like, no. And they were all in the Big East. And, so we're talking like, Will Fork and Ed Reed, Miami Hurricanes. They wanted me to go over there and run the option against those guys.
Hey, not you, huh?
I was like, man, look, I think you guys got the wrong guy.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? It's Division I. The dream before the NFL was to at least play Division I. So I said, hey, I'll come to your school, but if I don't win the starting job as a freshman, which they laughed at, I said, can I turn over and play defense, play linebacker? Right. And they were like, absolutely not. And I was like, all right, you know what? We tried. I'm going to go to University of Maine. It was the only school. It was the first school that sent their head coach to see me. And then for me, that was a big deal. That was a big sign of respect because that is about a 5.5 hour drive from where I'm at to Maine. And they made the trip down to see me, the head coach, Jack Cosgrove. And so I gave him my word. I was like, yo, look, I'm going to try to go to Division I, but if it doesn't work out, you have my word. I'm gonna come play linebacker for you guys in the Black Bears. And so it didn't work out. Almost went to West Virginia last second, but that fell through, and I ended up at UMaine for my freshman year, and it was incredible, man. What I love about 1AA is, every division other than one is you got the playoff system. Now, one finally has a little bit of a playoff, right? The 4-team or whatever, but they need to expand that, man.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like playoff football. And
Nothing.
I mean, anybody can win,
Exactly. On any given Sunday, right? Literally.
Exactly. And so, and when I was up there, we had a great group of guys. The two of the linebackers that played there with me, Stephen Cooper and Brandon McGowan, they both played in the NFL 7-8 years apiece. So, I mean, we had a squad over there.
Damn, that is what's up, man. So you get the USC, man. So tell me about that experience, man. So that's incredible. Like you win the 2-time national championships, played with, arguably one of the greatest college football teams ever, alongside Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and, like you said, Carson Palmer. You didn't play with Carson, did you?
No, I was his practice dummy. I was that offense with him, Justin Fargas, Mike Williams. Yeah, so I had just transferred in.
Okay.
So me and Frosty Rucker had just transferred in too from Colorado State. And so we were on it was black shirts. So we held it down on the scout team. And I mean, we gave them hell.
We can have it.
Yeah. But it was the talent that was there at the time, as you just mentioned, I got to play with 3 Heisman Trophy winners. Carson.
Oh, and then don't forget the great.
And honestly, probably the best football player I've ever played next to or with. Troy Barnett. I mean,
he's that good, man.
Man, I mean, I wish SC would just release the film from like practices, and like you could see how hard this guy went in practice, because it was. I mean, there wasn't a nicer guy either, too, off the field. So I mean, it was incredible though just to watch Troy go to work and his work ethic and how that, kind of had everybody else elevate their game to try to get on that level. Even, I mean, damn near impossible to reach his level, but it was just some of the acrobatic plays on a screen, avoiding, 2 linemen and making a tackle for loss.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was just, I mean, one time there was, what was it, Cal? He shot behind the line of scrimmage. He ducked under a guy, like army crawled, or a bear crawled, like a bear.
Yeah.
Pounced back up like a fucking leopard, and taking down a prey. And I was just like, we were all looking at each other like, did you just see that shit?
Hey, he on some ninja type shit.
I mean, it was absolutely insane, the stuff that he was doing, hurdling guys. It was relentless effort that he put on tape, and I mean, it set the standard for how we played defense for years to come after that.
Right. That's incredible, man.
2021 Hall of Fame in a couple of weeks.
Man, you know what's crazy? So him, Edge James, Steve Hutchinson, they're all going to the Hall of Fame. Three of my teammates, man, they're all going to the Hall of Fame.
Oh my gosh, you're right. That's incredible, man.
Yeah, so it's so cool. I'm trying to get out there. I don't know if I can make it in time, but it's in I think it's the second week of August. I might just go show my face and party with them for the night before.
What's up, man. Show your face in a place, man. Show them some support.
Yeah, man, it's incredible. Three of the greatest guys, off the field too, man. Just true leaders. Whether it's football or life, man, these guys are incredible.
That's cool, man. So tell us a little bit about, you played for was it Pete Carroll? So he was the head coach. Tell us a little bit about Pete, man. He just seems from the outside, obviously watching him on TV, like he's just out there. He just loves the game, just loves to have fun. You know, you see him clapping his hands, being excited. Just, you know what I mean?
Pete Carroll loves football. And on top of that, he just loves competing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what it is. He plays a lot of basketball too.
Really,
So,
Pete?
Oh, man.
He got a jumper?
He can play it too, yeah. He can shoot, he can distribute, man. He knows how to, do the pump fake and throw some passes, some no looks. But yeah, you won't find very many people in life that compete as hard as this guy does. And that's why he's going so strong this long in his career. If he wants to coach another 10 years, I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him. But and it's just the energy and the love for the game that he brings, and that's really what's contagious throughout his teams. Is I mean, yeah, we grind hard and everything, but we were always having fun.
Right.
Winning is fun, fellas.
Losing is not, right?
No, but I mean, we didn't know much about that when we were there. The 26 games I was lucky to play. We went 25-1. The one loss.
Wow.
The one loss was in triple overtime to Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
And and they had a squad too. They were good.
Yeah.
But it was so we won the split title my first year, and then the second year outright versus Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. And man, it was quite the ride.
That's nice.
In those days, you were pretty much the team of LA because there was no Chargers, no Rams there, nothing. It was USC.
We were the greatest show.
Everybody came to see you guys, man. So like I said, you do the UFC thing for a few years, man. Ultimately, when you get to your senior year or whenever you got drafted, what was that like, man? Like, tell us about your draft experience. Like, were you looking to go? I think you got drafted with the second round. Were you projected to go higher, lower? What was that like?
A lot lower. I came out as a junior, so I have one more year to play. But I felt like physically I was pretty much at my peak in terms of size, speed, everything. I really wasn't sure what another 100 tackles and I don't know, maybe another natty. We ended up losing the next year to Texas, right? But I wasn't sure what that really was going to do for my resume going, another year later. But I knew if I left, that was a year closer to free agency that I got. So it was it's a business decision, right? So keeping everything in mind, putting down the pros and the cons, I was like, look, my stock is as high as it's going to get right now. And so I'm going to take my chance. And I did my due diligence. I looked at the field of linebackers that were coming out. It was a strong field, but the following year, like all the guys from Ohio State were staying, all the guys from Virginia were staying. So I was like, man, I could fall even deeper next year, even if I have a great year, just because it's off potential, right? So they're always bigger, faster, stronger is the name of the game. But I felt like what I had done, my body of work spoke for itself. And while everybody projected me fifth, sixth round, when the draft came around, and I was called in the second round, everybody was shocked except for me. I felt like I should have been a first rounder.
Yeah, are you supposed to? You should be shit, man. I should have been the first overall pick, right? Hey.
I don't know. That would have been a little too generous, but
man. But yeah, like you said, so you get drafted. So do you where were you at? Like, tell us where were you when you got drafted? You know what I mean? Like, what were you doing?
Oh, I was partying. I had a bunch of so one of my dad's college roommates from SC, he was gracious enough to let us use his beach house in Oceanside, California.
Oh, nice.
We're right there on the water. Beautiful house. It was probably, anywhere from like 60 or 70 of my friends and family. People just kept showing up. And I was like, yo, is he cool with this? and so he was like, yeah, don't even worry about it. It's your day. And I was like, all right, I appreciate it. And and I warned him. I go, it could be my weekend because they told me I'm not going to get drafted to the 5th round. So he goes, who cares? We're going to celebrate whenever your name gets called. So, we're sitting there. Well, I wake up early, and my dad's on the couch at like 8 a.m. because we're on the West Coast, so East Coast, coverage starts early, right?
Right.
So he's already sitting there, and he's got 2 Heinekens, right? And so I come over to the couch, and it's just me and him. This, I've actually never told this story, man. So it's me and him just sitting there on the couch having a Heineken and just talking, football, life. This is before everybody else was awake. And it's just a moment that I'll never forget. And, we cheers. And he said, hey, I don't care what happens, man. I'm proud of you. And I was like, appreciate it, Dad.
Man. Beautiful,
yeah. Man. And so, he said, he goes, I'm pretty sure you're going 1st round. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 2nd. And so we laughed, and, had the drink, and then got ready for the draft. And so we're sitting there, and, 1st round feels like it's taking forever, right?
Yeah.
Well, we get to the very end of the 1st round, and the New England Patriots were up, and that's his old team, right?
Right, yeah.
And so commissioner gets up there, and he's like, with the 31st or the 32nd pick, the 32nd pick, the New England Patriots select low, and then my dad just started screaming.
That was you.
He thought it was me, and everybody's looking at him like, what? And he finishes. He goes, and it seemed like it took forever to finish the name, but he goes, Logan Mankins.
Pro Bowl guard.
Yeah, absolute beast, right? So, and my dad goes, oh, well, he's good too.
Yeah.
But so then we go a couple more. Now we get into the 2nd round, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? I haven't even had a call from my agent, and hadn't heard shit.
Yeah.
So my mom, luckily, she called my agent without telling me, and
what the hell is going on?
Yeah, was trying. And he was like, hey, I've been trying to reach you guys for like an hour.
Right.
We had no cell service there.
Wow.
So it wasn't until then, and I looked down at my phone, and it's 0 reception, and I'm like, I'm freaking out, and I'm like, shit, man,
you missed this call.
Yeah, I've been missing calls, and then as I'm finding out that I'm missing calls, on the bottom ticker, right, like as I found out, I was missing calls. Bottom ticker, there's a trade. Seattle jumped up.
Yeah.
Wow.
They select Lofa Tatupu, middle linebacker.
Nice.
And so the whole place, I didn't get the call. All I got was, so the whole place erupted. I'm talking drink, food flying everywhere. And that's how I found out. And I think it was probably the coolest way to find out, rather than get the call, being told you're going to get drafted, just to see it pop up was probably the coolest part. And so I got on the phone right after that with Holmgren, and he was like, they told me you're a smart player. He goes, but you didn't check for cell reception at the beach?
He's grilling you already.
Oh my God, yeah. It was perfect. Perfect intro to Mike Holmgren.
Wow.
Man, that is an incredible story. We never heard a story like that, man. That is incredible. That's one of a kind, bro.
Man, I'm pretty sure. Well, cell receptions got better these days since they've been 05, but it was pretty. They weren't happy with me. Let's put it that way.
I can imagine, man, because I see like when I'm watching the draft, like some of these guys, they go fishing on boats, and like you said, I'm just always thinking like, do they have cell reception? Like, do they check the lakes or the areas first to see if they have reception? But I'm also like, what if you drop your fucking phone in the water? You know what I mean? Then what? But hey, I guess you'll find out when you get back to the house, though. I guess.
Well, I mean, like way back in the day when they just drafted players, they didn't know if somebody was alive or what, right? So, I mean, there's been instances like that where, they drafted a guy and they're like, oh, well, yeah, we don't know where he is.
I saw Mike Tomlin's the way he does it. He'll call a draft pick, and the first thing he asks him is, "Are you healthy?" Did anything happen since the last time we talked? And the guy said, yes, I'm healthy. Like, okay, we're going to take you on the next pick. We're coming up right here. But that's always his first question. Are you healthy?
Man, I mean, no, that's smart. Mike Tomlin's a smart coach, man. Yeah.
Incredible. So you get drafted, you go to the Seahawks, man. What was it? 2005 was your rookie season, right?
Yep.
And man, you burst on the scene. I mean, you came in with, bad intentions, man. Like you came in, led the team in tackles. Well, you are an all-pro, you're a Pro Bowler. I mean, you end up going. Tell us, that was the Super Bowl year, right?
It was.
So tell us about your rookie season. And just like I said, just all your accolades. That's incredible, bro. Like you come in, lead the pretty much the team in tackles, all Pro Bowler, all pro. Tell us what the whole season was like for you.
It was one of the most fun years of football I've ever had. And this was just on the heels of 2 national titles, right?
I know.
Yeah.
And so it was at a point where I went, national championship, Super Bowl. I was like, and I thought this was before the game. I was like, this is just. I was even telling the guys, this is just how it is. This is what we do.
This is what we do, baby.
This is what we did at SC. This is what we're gonna do here. And it's hard to do that, but it felt natural. I remember my first game playing the Jaguars. We lost to them down in Jacksonville. It was hot as hell, man. Damn. And Fred Taylor and Jimmy Smith were just destroying us. Those guys were beasts. But we did not play our best game, offense and defensively, as a team. And they were a very good team. But that was the first loss I had in almost 2 years.
Right.
Wow.
And so I had myself a good little cry when I got back to my locker. Just like,
right.
I haven't had that feeling in 2 years.
Yeah.
Not since Cal and triple overtime, man. That was it was sickening, right? But it's the NFL. You can't win them all, man, unless you're the 72 Dolphins, right?
Right.
It was just a really tight team, and that's what teams that make championship runs, that's what they are. They're families. And so one of the most fun groups that I've ever been a part of, everybody loved football and they loved each other in terms of, going out there and laying it on the line for your brother, man. It was a real brotherhood, and still talk to a ton of those guys. But I think we reeled off 10 or 11 straight after opening up 500. We were 2-2.
Yeah.
And then, I think we won 10 or 11 straight. And it was, it felt like we were never going to lose, man. It was, and when you get to that feeling, like the Bucks on the end of their run last year, they needed to reel off like 5 straight. They won 5 straight to get to the playoffs. And at that point, the momentum's going so strong that you're just like, all right, this is just what we're going to win today. When the moment's the biggest and they're fighting, against themselves to make the play, we're just going to make it. It's a thing of beauty. And so, we were running away with games too, like just, embarrassing teams. And that's hard to do in the NFL, man. Those are grown ass men, paid professionals. So, we all take this very seriously, but it was that, I don't want to say effortless, but seamless in terms of our focus and vision for what that run was going to be like. And so, man. And I was, personally, in terms of the accolades and everything, that's just what comes with great success. There should have been more Pro Bowls on that, especially that year. Rocky Bernard had 8.5 sacks. He was an absolute beast.
He was a D tackle.
Man,
that's incredible.
8.5 sacks. And I'm telling you, I've never seen somebody only bull rush all game. All he did was
still win.
And he's still kicking your ass, man. It's like it's happening, and there's no way to stop it. And he bull rushed his way to 8.5 sacks. It was incredible. We led the league in sacks that year with like 54 or 55, something like that. And it was just, usually the team that leads the league in sacks, they got like maybe 1 or 2 guys that are up around 12 or 15 apiece. we had like probably 3 or 4 guys with 8.5. I think Greer Wistrom, Bryce Fisher, Chuck, Rock, and Leroy Hill had 7.5. He was a rookie. Yeah. And so, I mean, it was like just everybody chipped in. It was incredible. And that's what, as a defense, that's what we thrived on. I think they were the number 1 offense that year. Holmgren for years had a strong offense, and we came together as a defense that year to, just we were probably middle of the pack in terms of yards, but red zone efficiency, goal line defense, and turnovers is where we made our name for ourselves.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, because like I said, that team, you guys were nice. Like you said, they had a nice offense. Then they added you and a few other pieces, and they were able to kind of get over the hump. I think you guys had Matt Hasselbeck at quarterback. Yeah. You had,
MVP Sean Alexander.
Yep, Sean Alexander, man. I was just gonna ask you, man. Like, tell us about Sean. Like, those seasons were like something of legend. Like him and the offensive line, like said, Steve Hutchinson and Walter Jones.
Toback, Locklear, Chris Gray. That offensive line, man. When I first got there, we got to like our first padded practice, or
I was just about to ask you.
The first couple padded practices, and Homer ran, like a tough training camp. It's like you're going to have a couple periods every practice. When you have pads on, you're going to the ground, full go, full tackle, full scrimmage.
No thud. He's taking you to the ground.
To the ground. And so, but that, it was great, but that first couple practices, I remember coming out of a scrimmage. I remember coming out of scrimmage with and I'm talking maybe 30 plays, right?
Yeah.
Three tackles. And I'm like, this is not supposed to happen like this.
Yeah.
At least 10, 8 to 10 tackles. But that's how good the O-line was, man. You were lucky if you got a free shot at Sean, man.
Right.
And at that point, it's like, Sean's like 230 and he's smooth, man. His shoulders are always square. His hips are always pointed downfield. So
I noticed
never off balance. Yeah. He's never off balance. And so that year, Sean had 1880 yards, right?
Incredible.
He was probably on the bench for probably 6 games in the second half.
Wow.
Yeah, because you guys were blowing people out, right?
So, Sean probably could have broke the all-time record that year.
I remember that,
if we played him every game, to the end. Because I want to say, he must have missed at least a full game, maybe two full games in terms of the quarters missed by sitting in the second half.
Man. Like I said, that offensive line was crazy, man. I was just talking to another guy about the big Walter Jones, Mankins, and some of the other guys that you guys pointed out. That's incredible. It's like literally a brick wall.
Man.
You know what I mean?
So Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Chris Gray is a guy, Toback was a beast. He was probably the ringleader,
Oh, really?
The centers usually are, man.
Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Walt and Hutch are big, quiet types. They're just going to kick your ass. But Robbie, so when Robbie got you, oh, man, he let you know.
He let you know he talked that shit up.
That's what I love about him. That's what you love about him, man.
Right.
He's just a scrappy, tough dude. And he didn't take shit from anybody. Whether it was practice or in the game, man, you saw him, getting after people, and you loved it, man. It set the tone, right?
Yeah.
And then Chris Gray and Locklear, they were all, quiet giants, They just showed up and kicked ass too. But so our O-line, Dallas's O-line,
yep.
Yeah.
The Giants always had a solid O-line, but Kansas City,
the Chiefs.
Rofe, Water,
Wiseman,
and and then they had Jason Dunn, big ass tight end, man.
Yeah, a blocking tight end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could catch too, but they had Tony Gonzalez, so
Yeah.
I mean,
he was the blocker by default.
Yeah, he's strong and fast, but I mean, they would line up in double tights, man. It was like, okay, I mean, if I can get past these guys, then it's either a one-on-one with Priest Holmes or Larry Johnson.
Man, like I said, that dual threat, man. Like I said, just playing against those guys, and like you said, the offensive line, play at that level. So, like I said, that Super Bowl run you guys had. So, what was that? What was it like playing in the Super Bowl against the Steelers, man? Like, I was rooting for you guys. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I know Z's a Steelers fan. I just don't like the Steelers. I just don't like them. You know what I mean? I saw Joey Porter came out and was talking all that trash, and I love Joey Porter. And I think it was Jeremy Stevens or something said something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were kind of going back and forth all week with with all that stuff. But like, what was your focus going into that game?
I mean, I just came off 2 natties, so I mean, winning championships is kind of what I do. But it's unfortunate that even the refs came out and they said that they played a part in it. I mean,
you hear that, Z? Do you hear that?
I do not recall.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I get it. I get it. Look, like it's not like if we got the calls, it's not like I'm gonna be like, yeah, here, have my ring. Like, so I mean, I understand it from a Pittsburgh side, but it's just, I mean, the only way you make peace with it is that, like, this is shit just out of your control. Like, I can't. I mean, I didn't throw the flag. I don't know. I mean, he even said it was a bad flag. I mean,
right.
For him to come back and apologize at our camp, that was probably the worst part of it. It was like, okay, we could put it to rest. Like, okay, the moment wasn't too big for us. It was too big for him and his crew.
Exactly.
But still, I mean, it's the biggest game of your life, man. It was fun to play in, but it's unfortunate the way it went down.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it was a bad loss. Like I said, I was rooting for you guys, and you guys hung in there all the way to the end. It was just a series of bad calls, man.
Yeah, it's tough, man, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So, man, going into your second year, I mean, same thing, man. I mean, lead the team in tackles. Shoot, I mean, you guys make the playoffs again. Ultimately, you guys lose out. But like I said, a Pro Bowler, man. Like, you're making a name for yourself. In your second season, like, what are you thinking, man? Like, man, I finally made it. Like, I'm the man, or you stay humble.
No, I mean, you don't ever want to think that you made it because, I mean, it's a what have you done for me lately league, man.
Yeah.
Like, 1 minute you can be on top, the next minute you're not. I mean, just shit happens, injuries happen. As we'll get to that in a minute. I mean, because that's coming up in a year or two. But it's you grateful for everything that's happening, and again, I was blessed with a great situation. We brought into a team with a great group of leaders. So even though I was voted captain, I wasn't forced to be captain. We already had plenty of strong leaders for me as a young guy to lean on. And
right.
So that was guys like Grant Wistrom. Walt, that whole line, Tobeck. There's plenty of leaders at every position, and I think that's what most championship teams have in common is that they run and they police it themselves. They no one's above the team. It's always team first.
Yeah.
One of the unique aspects of your story. So your father and Hasselbeck played together with the Patriots, and then you and Matt Hasselbeck played together on the Seahawks. Yeah. What is that? I mean, it's coming full circle. What is that like?
Yeah. So we grew up a town over from each other. In fact, my wife's from Norfolk, Matt's hometown. Cool. Yeah, and so growing up, it's Rentham, Plainville, Norfolk. It's 3 towns that are so small that the 3 joined together to make a regional high school. It's one high school. That's how small the towns are. And but there's a lot of good athletes that come out of there. But a lot of them go to private school, like Severian or they got Boston College High and St. John's.
Okay.
So they got all these private schools out there that are really good that are like football factories. And so Matt went to Xaverian, which they put a ton of guys in the NFL. And I went to public school, King Philip,
Okay.
And but so I grew up competing against Matt's youngest brother, Nathaniel, who was a phenomenal athlete.
Okay.
So there's Matt, Tim, and then Nathaniel.
Man.
Yeah.
Jesus. It's like football factory.
Oh man, yeah. And they all Matt, Tim, and even Nate. Nate could play, man. He just didn't get the 6'4" that Matt and Tim
the
are.
measurables. Yeah.
Nate's about 5'11", but I mean, he could fly, he could catch, he could do it all. So he played some receiver and DB at Boston College.
Okay.
Man. So, like I said, after your first two years, going into your third year, man, this was, a lights out year. Like, again, lead the league in tackles, lead the team in tackles, Pro Bowler, first team All-Pro, man. But the team success kind of dropped off, and obviously the injuries, kind of piled up, and ultimately you left and go to a new. Like, what was that like?
07 was still a solid year. We lost in divisional again. I think we lost to Green Bay this time. After we had a 14-0 lead after the first two series.
Yeah, and they come back and put up 40-something points.
Oh, and then the snow set in, and you couldn't see shit, man. Only thing we could see was Ryan Grant going, downfield. I think he must have had like 150 or 160.
Oh, Jesus.
He went off in like the three quarters. It was insane. Yeah, man, we had another great year. Felt like that was our best shot to get back to the big game. The year before was solid. We were up and down all year in 06. But we hit our stride at the very end to get into the dance. And then Robbie Gould kicked a 53-yarder into the wind.
That's crazy to me. Like, really?
So we had blocked probably in my first 2 years, we probably blocked like 10 kicks that were anything that was over 40 or 42 yards. It was like a done deal. Like me, Craig Terrell, some of the D linemen were like, yeah, this is done. This is blocked,
Yeah.
And when I think I was pushing Russell Davis, and I saw it go over his hand. I was like, there's no way. There's no way that's getting there. And I turned around, and the thing just kept going. And I'm talking, it was into the wind, too.
That's crazy.
I couldn't believe it. And but I think I don't know. I think Robbie's still kicking. That's probably why he's still kicking. He's that good.
He got a leg that never dies.
Right? Yeah. But so, yeah, and then we took that in 07. We had some momentum, and it was a crazy day in Green Bay that ended our trip that year. And as we got to the next year, so we start to get to the rough years, man, where I just started missing all these games, and the injuries started piling up like you're talking about. And I think what a lot of people don't know is my first 3 years, I probably had about 9 or 10 of my 15+ concussions in those first 3 years. And I never missed any time, and I never missed a practice. I would go Monday, go get my protocol, go do the test, the screening, which is like a 5-hour test.
Yeah. And
it's pretty strenuous, and you have to recall everything that you have to be within so many percentage. I don't know if it's 5 or 10% of what you can normally do as a baseline study. So, they tax you, man. They put you through the ringer, but I always passed that. And which means I was always just okay enough to go back out there. And I was back in pads by Wednesday, man, and that's just the way it was back then. But what I didn't realize is how, the effects of that would start to eat at the mind-body connection, and I'm talking things that are routine for an athlete, seamlessly, transitioning out of a back pedal into, I had to start thinking about. And like,
Really? Wow.
oh man, and when you get to like that level of, you know, I want to say like, you know, like unawareness, like, or just not knowing how to contort or control
It's
your
dangerous.
body. Well, it is super dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's, but on top of that, it's scary. It's like, shit, man, like this is routine. Like, should not have to think about getting out of this break and, you know, where I'm going to put my next foot. Like that's, you know, I should be looking at the ball and watching, you know, the reaction from the quarterback and wherever his intentions and breaking on that. But I was like literally like looking like, damn, we got to plant and we got to go that way. Like, and so it's insane really how quickly with a brain injury your skills diminish. And because you're always playing from behind, especially, you know, so then I pile on top of that. Only like the first year, only when I think my rookie year did I not have a surgery in the off season. I had 10 surgeries in my life, 8 of them which were from football. And so, you know, yeah, and you're already going in the season, not the biggest, not the strongest, not the fastest. So, you know, every offseason, it was like I was trying to catch up just to get back to me, you know, being 100%. And I mean, you barely ever get there, man. You might get to 90, but then here comes mini camps and here comes camp, and like you get knocked down to 70 quick. It's just the way it happens. But so
grind, man.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, so then tore my pec in 9, missed 11 or 12 games that year. Came back in 10. Needed double knee surgery after that year. Another probably 2 or 3 concussions I played through that year. And so I mean, it was crazy, man. And but I'm happy to say though, with my company and, you know, Zone in CBD, I feel like I've fully recovered, you know, finally from all that stuff.
Man, so tell us a little bit more about your company, man. So what are you guys trying to do and trying to get accomplished?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, football, it was amazing to me until it wasn't, right? I mean, it's there's you know, there's a price to pay for playing this game. And so with, you know, all the aches, pains, you know, cognitive issues I was going through mentally with the concussions, I never knew getting into the cannabis and hemp industry was going to, you know, change that for the better. You know, I got into it as an investment on the real estate side. And then me and my partner, Matt McCoy, who played ball with me. And
Matt,
went to San Diego State. And then he played 9 or 10 years in the NFL too. Beast. So we got into real estate, but then we ended up taking over one of the properties and creating a brand. 1937 Farms is the name of it. And while I was in the cannabis industry, I just kept hearing more and more about CBD and as opposed to THC. You know, I mean, of course, everybody knows THC and you know loves it, right? But I still consume, you know, here and there. I like the edibles though. I don't really smoke that much. But I started, you know, reading more and hearing more and more about CBD and what it was and what it wasn't, you know, and that there was hemp derived and also cannabis derived. So obviously hemp one's legal, which is what Zone in CBD is. It's federally legal as of 2018 in the Farm Bill. And, you know, I just, as I read more and did some R&D, bought products and started, you know, even journaling, like how I was feeling, like, was I feeling any better? There was a ton of products that were just, they were just trash. They really weren't as advertised. And, but I finally came across one that was, you know, full plant extract, meaning the whole plant, with very, very low doses of THC. And then upon reading more, finding out that hemp has all those same compounds, just minus the THC, but you're still going to get all the benefits without getting the high.
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, let me check that out. And so I did. And I mean, it, like I said, life-changing experience.
Beautiful.
You know, I dropped 50 pounds. I was like when I was coaching with the Seahawks,
Yeah.
I was like 275 pounds, 280 pounds. I'm 230, 235.
Really?
Right now. Wow. Yeah, which is like my playing weight was 235, 240. So back playing basketball every day. You know,
nice.
Having fun. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Yeah, living life, man, you know, as opposed to just going through the motions. And so when some change your life, man, you owe it to everybody to share it. So put a group together and built the brand Zone In, which is off of positive psychology, also known as being in the zone, flow state.
Okay.
And, it's been changing a lot of lives, man. So that's what we're doing out here.
Beautiful, man. So thanks for sharing that, man. Because like I said, I think a lot of people are just misconstrued and misconcepted about weed. It's bad for you and all of this stuff. You know how it is, man. I mean, it's
shit. 100 years we've been for damn near 100 years we've been fighting the stigma, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's I know smoking's not good for you. I'm not going to argue anybody that says smoking, or even agree with anybody that says smoking is good for you. I mean, that's why I do the edibles, is because I still am an athlete. I like to run, and but I really don't. It's not more harmful than shit, anti-inflammatories or alcohol. I mean,
exactly. Oh, alcohol is horrible. It literally does nothing for you. Literally,
it's a poison. You can get alcohol poisoning. I mean, So, and look, I still like tequila, but but still, it's not good for me. I know that, and so hopefully, it's just gonna take some time, man. But I think, we're making some strides in the right direction, and hopefully just keep educating people and about what it is. I think this is really the bridge to everybody being more accepting of cannabis.
I think so too.
Is that okay? Well, this is the stuff without the high, but it's the same stuff. So, there's a lot of people that are becoming more open-minded to the medicinal properties of the plant. And I think it's going to eventually lead to them saying, well, what if I try cannabis? And I think it's going to be good for everybody.
Beautiful.
So you have the energy bars on your website.
What's that? Energy powder. So yeah, we have the capsules and the droppers, which everybody's a lot of companies they have, but that is one differentiator. We just came out with trying to come out with more and more products to for the athlete, because movement is really our best medicine. So we really just want to get everybody back to moving. Yeah. Because I mean, think about it. When we were kids, man, we couldn't sit still. Mm-hmm. And why do we become anxious or depressed and sad? Because we don't get any energy out, man. We just sit, at a desk, or even like we're doing now, and we're confined to these.
Think about the last year with everybody basically being remote.
COVID? Oh yeah,
just sitting and sitting and sitting. We're finally to the point where we can grab the bike and ride and jog and walk and exercise.
But I mean, you think about it, man. I mean, kids, they're really not anxious and sad and shit. They're out running and having fun, man. Like that's what we used to do. Yeah. Like nobody wants to go outside and nobody wants to work out anymore, right?
I know.
We didn't realize that we were kids and we were running around playing tag and shit. We were working out.
You're right about that, man. We sure were. Man, I wanted to ask you, I have my last few questions before we let you go, man.
Yeah.
Tell us, who were some of the hardest teams to prepare for, just in the NFL, and then who were some of the more difficult players to tackle, at running back? Who are guys he's a load, you know what I mean? Or
okay, so to game plan, it's usually the ones with the great quarterbacks, man. It doesn't matter how well you prepared, and if they know what you're in, like Peyton Manning, bro.
Oh my God, he's incredible, right?
If he knows one guy on his hard count, if one guy tips off what you're doing, he'll reset it all and just put you in the worst possible situation.
Are some of his audibles like bullshit though? 'Cause, like it just seems like he just makes shit up, or are they like? What does it seem like to you?
No.
I think probably don't.
No, I'll tell you one time. What was it? It was like East Asia or East Europe was like a zone stretch, and they didn't even have time to go to the sideline and change the shit. Right? He was in the huddle. It might have been like a 30-second timeout or an injury timeout. So, but he got together with his boys and he just said, hey, probably told them, hey, it's going to be a dummy. This is the play. It's probably going to be a dummy East Asia or East. So he said like East Asia, and I was stretch left. And he's just smiling, and I was like, what the fuck is he smiling at? And I look over, and Reggie Wayne's in the slot, and Reggie Wayne's not usually in the slot. And I was like, wait a minute. So it's coming too. So I was just like, I didn't even tell my boys, hey, plays off. I just ran to the middle of the post because I knew Reggie Wayne was going deep. And he pumped and held my safety, and he threw one. Shit, I don't know if it was Austin Collie or Pierre Garçon streaking up the sideline for like 30 or 40 yards.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, just like 2 series before, I had made like a tackle for loss on one of those checks because I picked up on it. I knew it.
Right.
And so now as soon as I let everybody else know it, he was like, nope. And then, okay, so running back, man, everybody's good, man. That's crazy. In our division alone, we have the MVP on our team, Sean.
Yeah.
Edge James, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Right. Steven Jackson.
Oh yeah, Steven Jackson, yeah.
Absolute monster. And then Frank Gore was just coming on his 6 Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, all 4 of those guys should be Hall of Fame. Steve too, and especially Sean, right? But the guy that always stands out, 06 LT was a nightmare because I mean, a lot of people don't. They always remember the jukes and the spin moves and the fancy footwork.
Yeah.
He had one of the most vicious stiff arms. luckily, he didn't get me with it. But he used to put people in the ground with that thing. Like all you would see is their nameplate, and like they were trying to find his arm. And it was like, damn, like that was vicious.
Right.
But I mean, he could do it all. And then a guy that I have the utmost respect for, Fred Taylor, man.
Oh yeah, Fred. Yeah.
We talk about size, speed, run between the tackles, run outside, and then if he hits the gas, like if he gets any kind of a straightaway, you're not catching him. There's plenty of clips where he broke like a 70 or 80 yarder, and he's all alone for the last 20 yards or so. That's how fast he is.
Damn, man. So LT and Fred, man, that's what's up, man.
Oh yeah, monsters, man. I mean, it was Thomas Jones. He never got. I mean, everywhere Thomas went.
Oh yeah, Thomas. Yeah.
Everywhere he went, he put up like 1,200, 1,300. Like whether it was Chicago, the Jets, Kansas City, like
you're right.
He put in work, man. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys I got a lot of respect for. But I mean, this is the NFL, man. Everybody's good.
You're definitely right about that, man. Hey, before I let you go, man, tell us a little bit about your podcast, man. Was it the Believe?
Believe in Seahawks on the Believe Podcast Network. It's so it just started up maybe a little year and a half ago.
Okay.
Can't believe it's been that long. Like I said, I jumped on with my boy Brett Davern, and just do a guest spot, and we just hit it off, man. Just like you guys love talking ball. And so we cover all things Seahawk. Excited to get the season started. Just like everybody, this is our year, right? I know this is where you guys feel too.
Man, I might ask you. So, the Seahawks last year, they got off to this hot start, man, and they kind of just flamed out, man. Like, I don't even know what the hell happened.
Injuries happen. I mean, as bad as our secondary was statistically, they had not had much time together. And I know it sounds like an excuse, but man, this is your back end, man. Like this has to be on the same page. And, I know Jamal's one of the greatest safeties in the game, but he had just came over from New York, didn't really have any time with the team. Quentin Dunbar came in, and it was a new offseason, so it was all virtual.
Right.
And so the chemistry was just not there. Diggs was still here, and he's a beast.
Yeah.
And then Shaq was out of the lineup for like a month. Shaq Griffin. So
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So it's tough. And then you couple that on top of we had no pass rush in the first
half of the season.
Didn't you guys make a trade for somebody or something? Who was the guy?
And then we got Dunlap.
Yeah, from the Bengals.
Yeah, Dunlap. He came in. He had a solid. He helped out a lot.
This dude's been a beast his whole career, but he's been in Cincinnati.
Right.
And look, I know it's no knock on Cincy. It's just you're not going to get as much love and credit out there. But I looked at his stat. He had like 82 sacks in Cincinnati, man.
Oh yeah, he was a dog. He was a dog, man.
And he's not a true DN. He's like kind of that Justin Tuck, play inside, play outside, do it all. But I mean, he won the Arizona game for us with a sack. He won the Washington game for us. Just ran right over the tackle. So on top of adding, we were like dead last or like number 30th in sacks before acquiring him. And I think we were number 1 from week 8 on after the trade deadline. We were like number 1 or number 2 in sacks. So that's what we could do. I'm hoping we get KJ right back.
The linebacker, yeah.
Man, yeah, I'm surprised that
he's a free agent.
He is, and he's coming off statistically his 2 best year. A year ago in 2019, he had career high in tackles and interceptions, and then this year he was the only player in the history or in the NFL to have 10 pass breakups and 10 tackles for a loss. Only one. And they moved him to Sam. So this is a guy you want to talk about selfless. Played 9 years at will, and then we drafted the new kid Brooks, who's going to be a beast. But drafted him, and I thought they were just going to plug him in to where Kendricks was playing because Brooks and Kendricks got a similar game, man, downhill attacking, and thought it was just going to be plug and play. But they actually opted to go Brooks at will and KJ at Sam, and KJ didn't complain. He just went out there and kicked ass, man. He put up another like 80 or 90 tackles, which now he was relegated to really one side as opposed to patrolling the middle with Bobby. And so it's definitely there were teams going away from him because you don't want to have to see him if you don't have to.
Hey, we're looking for big things this year from the Seahawks, man. Shoot, hey.
Yeah, with that offense, Russ. You always have a chance with Russ. Metcalf, Lockett, Chris Carson. I'm telling you, the difference between, and I thought like we were going to use them. We only had one game, so I can't really blame, offensively what we did against the Rams. It's a tough defense. But Chris Carson, man, I kept saying it, just like in those Super Bowl runs with 13 and 14, Marshawn Lynch, man, was what got them there. That stingy defense, right? But I feel like we kind of are there depth-wise on defense, and if we could just keep Carson, because Carson, he's missed games every year. We re-signed him, thank God, he's a monster. But if not having him for the playoffs the previous 2 years,
it really hurt.
Oh my God!
They were one-dimensional.
It's tough. Well, because now Russ is dropping back and doing play action, and no one believes it.
Right? Because it's like, who you gonna hand the ball to this guy? Like my front seven can handle him. I mean, with all due respect, he's an NFL player, but he ain't no Chris Carson.
They were signing guys off the street. It seemed like at the end, just finding guys to plug in.
Yeah, it's tough, man. So that's the one piece I feel like if we can get him healthy to the postseason, and you heard Pete's comments. Hey, I want a little more commitment to the run going forward, and I mean that it's only going to open up the pass, and so You know, like you said, Russ got off to an awesome start, and then
Yeah.
injuries happened, you know, and it was tough, man. It's tough to just rely. Teams are just taking away the deep shot, and so
right.
at that point, you're gonna have to do the unsexy thing that Tom Brady does, and just check it down and throw it to the flats. But see, that's what makes Tom Tom.
Yeah.
If I got to throw 40 times the flats to win this game, I'm going to throw 40 times the flats to win this game.
That's probably going to be annoying, though, as a defensive player, though. Like, right?
It's the worst. It's the worst, you know, having to run all the way out to the flats.
Right.
But it gets the job done until you see the top soften and like guys cheating because, you know, a quarterback's tired of giving up, you know, 8 under routes. You know, he's like, all right, it just takes that one time. And, you know, if the chemistry is good enough, which, you know, with like Lockett or Metcalf now, you know, now they can do an impromptu double move, like just fake, you know, and then go. And so it's, you know, we'll see. It's exciting, man. They're fun to watch, man. Offense, defense, special teams, man. The Hawks are always, especially on prime time. Oh, they got something for prime time every time. It comes out of the wire every time.
Man, they're a fun team to watch.
Wasn't your 3 interception game on prime time?
It was.
Oh yeah.
We were made for the big moment, I guess.
You sure were, man. Hey, before I get you out of here, man, I got this. The last question: who is, in your opinion, regardless of position, I always ask my guests, especially our football guests, who is the best player in the NFL at the moment? Like, just in your opinion, like regardless of position, Pat Mahomes. Donald. Yeah. Really? Not Aaron Donald? You're a defensive player.
Yeah, this dude, Pat Mahomes, in the Super Bowl. Pat Mahomes still had a good game in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he did.
His receivers let him down, and I mean,
they did. I think what's his name got exposed. The second receiver in Kansas City, not Hill, obviously. I forgot his name.
But I mean, Hill dropped that long one, hit him off the helmet.
Yeah.
Kelsey dropped a couple, which is very uncharacteristic. Both those guys, they don't drop passes, right?
Yeah.
And there was a couple. What was the other one? There was one on the goal line. The one he went sideways, hit the running back off the helmet.
Right.
So it wasn't like he was missing the spot. Like they weren't either seeing the ball or I don't know what was happening. But Pat Mahomes still had a great game. He
did.
And I forget what the stat was in terms of how many times he got pressured or ran out of the pocket.
It was incredible. Oh, my gosh.
I think they said he ran a couple hundred yards. And it was, you know, but it's what he's been able to do. Quarterback is a damn near impossible position to play, man.
Yeah.
Like in terms of everything you have to know, everything that's going on, keeping the shot clock in your head, you know, to make sure you don't get a delayed game. I mean, personnel change. It is a shit ton of information to pack in, man. And so for him to come in, it was really his first year starting and win the MVP.
Yeah.
And then and he was within a first down of going to the Super Bowl that year. Right?
Yeah.
But the Patriots ended up going, right?
Right.
And then he came back and he won the Super Bowl that next year.
Yeah.
And then he went back to another Super Bowl. So just the success he's had this quickly, I mean, insane. And it's a lot on his shoulder, his arm. It's not.
It is.
It's not. Yeah. Like, has he even really had a run game I mean, they had the first rounder last year, but I don't think he really.
Yeah, they don't really rely on him. Like watching their games, it's like they has the setup. I mean, there's not a ton of guys in the box when you play Kansas City. Like they're really scared of Mahomes and Kelsey.
Who was their tailback?
Who was it? Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
And then he got hurt. They signed Le'Veon Bell late. Yeah.
When they won it 2 years ago, who was their running back?
Danny Williams. Damian Williams.
Damian Williams. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And then he sat out last year for COVID. So
yeah.
He didn't play last year.
Oh, yeah. So it's been crazy. Like, he's got those receivers and one of the best tight ends in the game. Kelsey's a beast. But it's been largely on his shoulders, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Mahomes is a beast, man.
But yeah, in terms of defensively, I don't know. Aaron Donald, man, I don't know if just like when Watt had those 3 or 4 years of dominance, like I don't know if there's a team that can just sit there and block him consistently.
I know, it's incredible.
Even with two guys, like, commands a double team and still just wreaks havoc. He's one of him, Watt, and Taylor, right? They're the only three-time MVPs. I mean, that's saying something, man.
That's incredible, man. Both incredible players, man. Hey, Lofa, thanks for joining us, man. We had a blast with you, man. Hopefully we can have you on again, man, at some point during the season and chop it up with some Seahawks football, man.
Absolutely, fellas. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure, and we'll definitely do this again.
No doubt, man.
Thank you.
All right, so everybody, that's our show, man. Lofa Tatupu joined us. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next show. Peace.